I asked you.
Get away from me, finger
I asked
and
you
face.
not to videotape my kids, and you videotape my kids twice now. All right?
It's gonna look good.
I will find you.
You will.
I will find you, and you will go down as a pervert.
Can I use you as a reference?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, right here's your reference.
Whoa. Shut your mouth.
Tell me to shut my mouth?
Yes. No one's talking to you.
You need to watch it.
You need to watch it.
Watch it.
Yeah, what's your name?
My name is Greg Dudley. I'm the principal here. Can I help you?
Stop getting close to me.
I'm coming over here to have a conversation with you. Can I help
Stop right there.
No. This is school property.
Well, school property is public property. He's getting aggressive with me.
Twice now.
Go ahead and put your hands behind your back.
Twice now. I've asked
For
you.
what?
Winston Smith, is it?
Yes, sir. How
All right.
doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for letting me borrow this hat.
Yeah, no problem, brother. You make it look good, man.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So I guess we'll start with just letting you introduce yourself. I know you're a smaller channel. You've been around for a little while.
Yeah,
Actually,
I've been watching this stuff for like 15 years, you know, and it just got to the point where I said, I got to get out myself, you know, and I didn't know anybody or anything, but I ended up, with my work, I've been pretty blessed. I work for who I want, when I want. Sometimes I'll go out on a job, they'll say it's 3 weeks, I'll be there a year. And things start lapsing, like your license plate, your gun permit, you know, and things like that. So what started with me was I went to get my concealed carry permit renewed. So if you look at state statute, you can go anywhere, any tax collector's office that you'd like. So I went to the closest one, which happened to be in Sumter County in Wildwood, Florida. And when I was there, they says, "Oh no, we can't help you. You're not a resident of Sumter County." I says, "Well, that's not what the law says. The law says I can come here." "Well, we're not going to serve you." So I'm thinking, what the heck's going on here? You know, who are these people to overrun the state laws? So I figured, well, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to start looking, because I'm a senior citizen and I think that, you know, I pay my taxes, everything. And I start videoing and they get mad. Oh boy, they get mad. They call the cops. Cops come, cops want me to go outside. Nope, not leaving, you know. So it turned out that the lady that worked there, her name was Leslie Smith, nice lady. She did the 119, the public records.
Yeah,
and she
Chapter
knew,
119.
and she told everybody, he's allowed to be here, not causing any disruption. Cops, you know, came, bunch of them, and just walked around, had some nice chats with them, though, you know, and I told him, I said, I'm going to be back every day. I said, I'm going to watch this place, you know. So in between, that was May 6th of 2021. After I left, the county commissioner, or the admin of the county, he decided he didn't want me there. And then the tax collector, he decided he didn't want me there. So they conspired between themselves through emails that if I come back, they're going to trespass me. I find this out all after the fact, you know. So I go back on May 7th, and I walk in and I'm filming and that, you know, and I walk towards the tax collector's office. Right away, this big buffalo lady gets out in front of me. "You ain't going in there." I says, "Well, who are you?" "You don't need to worry." She's telling me that she doesn't have to give me her name or anything, you know.
is this one of your first audits?
Yeah. So then I'm walking down the hallway, and here comes two cops right at me. And I just walk right by and say, "Hey, what's up?" You know, and they says, "What's going on here?" I said, "What do you mean, what's going on? I didn't call you." "Well, we're here because of you." I says, "What did I do?" "Oh, you're causing a ruckus." "Really? What did I do?" "Well, you know, they don't want you here. They want you to trespass." I said, "Trespass from a public building? How can you do that?" "Well, they can do whatever they want, more or less, you know." So then they're telling me that I have to go outside to get the CAD number. It's like an idiot. I'm new. I fall for it. I walk outside. They come out, wouldn't let me back in. So then the Wildwood police come up. the Wildwood police are there. Hey, how can I help you? I says, I didn't call you. Why are you talking to me? You know? So then the one deputy detective from the sheriff's office walks the cop in there and says they want him trespassed and that, you know, blah, blah, blah. And in the meantime, I ask, am I being detained? Two deputy sheriffs, yep, you're being detained. I says, what for? They says, for trespassing. I says, I'm not trespassing. So ended up getting trespassed. So I sent a letter to the administrator. I can't think of his name right now. It'll come back to me. And I asked him, hey, I sent it to the county commissioners, everything. Why was I trespassed? I didn't do anything, you know, and all that. Goes on. I get a letter about 2 weeks later. You were never trespassed. Nobody ever said you were trespassed. I got it all on video. So then I decide, hey, I'm taking these bad boys to court, you know. I says, I have a redress of government. I'm going to do it.
They did that to me in Apopka, and also, so Apopka, and they did it at the Volusia County Board of Education or school board, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think they do that to kind of cover their tracks, so there's nothing official in writing in case you're trying to seek litigation against them.
Yeah, it got kind of wild. But that day that I did get trespassed, I knew Rogue Nation's email, Patriot Discussions. Sent him an email real quick, put in my phone number, boom.
Great guy.
He called back right away. I told him what was going on. He goes, really? He said, I'm going to go over there. So he went over there. He did a video too, and they kept telling him, oh, we're the tax collector. We can refuse service to anybody, you know.
Is this the one that I saw one with Rogue Nation where he went in and the whole DMV was forced to go outside?
No, this was yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a tax collector's office.
Okay, nonetheless, I mean, very interesting. You got to send me that one. You sent me a few videos, and we'll get around to those here in a little bit. But about Rogue Nation, that's how I found out about you, by the way. Maybe perhaps a lot of my viewers have seen you on there. I know I saw one of my first ones that I saw of you. You were at a library, and you walked in. Like, we're in a library right now, Orlando Public Library to be exact. But you walked into a conference room that was open to the public. There was some kind of meeting going on. And
it was a First Amendment meeting.
Yeah.
That was what it was. It was a First Amendment meeting.
Too funny. How ironic. Right?
Yeah. So I'm just standing there. You saw the video. I didn't bother anybody. And then the Karens went wild, man. It was funny as hell.
Karen fest, man.
Oh, yeah. Right in my
Karens.
face. I tried to tell them I'm a journalist. You're not a journalist. Where's your papers? Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to put that up on my site. But it was pretty interesting. The cops come, you know.
Where's your papers? Where's your papers? That sounds like Nazi Germany.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So the cop walks in. I says, do you want to handle this or do you want me to handle it, you know? He goes, hold on. So then that one lady gets up and starts saying, he's threatening us. He called us North Koreans and shit, you know, like, yeah. And I just started rubbing it in their face saying, ooh, I'm not getting arrested, am I? Ooh, you know.
I just call a spade, you know. That's me. Don't
yeah.
Shoot the messenger.
It got pretty interesting in that, you know. But that's what got me started. And now I live in Lady Lake, Florida, which is the Villages. They're corrupt as it is. So the Lady Lake police, you knew about my arrest at the school, right?
On a public sidewalk.
Yeah, I was on a public sidewalk. I was new. I knew the law, Chapter 119. I could go there. School was being dismissed. Did I choose the right time or right place? I figured, let's see what happens, you know. So I just went by law, went up to the custodian of public records, and I said, I'd like to make a public records request. I told you got to go to Tavares. I said, I'm not going there for a public records request. A public records request, I want her right here. I told you where to go. I says, well, what's the address? He goes, I don't know the address right off of my...
Look it up online.
Yeah, that's what it was. You got a phone, look at it.
They want everything online.
Yeah. So the cop's standing there, and he's telling me, I'm asking you to leave. I says, you're asking me to leave? He says, yeah. I says, well, I want to do a public records request. So then the cop's standing right there. I says, am I trespassed?
Now,
He
was
goes,
he an officer? I'm sorry, was he a sergeant?
he was a sergeant.
Do you remember his name, Sergeant?
Yeah, Reyes. He's not with them anymore.
Sergeant
I think
Reyes.
he went out on disability.
He was kind of a heavy-set,
Yeah.
funny-looking guy with a funny mouth.
Are you the one
Shut
that
your mouth!
Tell me to shut my mouth?
Yes. No one's talking to you.
You need to watch it.
You need to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a real smart, calmy mouth, didn't he?
Oh yeah. And then he's chasing me up and down the street, you know, and things like that. And I just says, hey, stay back, leave me alone. I'll defend myself. Because I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? Am I going to jail? You know, how far can I push this? What's the gray area? Am I going to end up in a slammer? And I just said, fuck it, I'm going for it. You know? So these people that were standing there the whole time with their kids behind the fence watching what's going on. So then the cop, I told him, leave me alone. He kept wanting my ID. I said, no, I'm not giving it to you. I just flat out told him, I'm not giving it to you.
Right.
So I'm walking up the street. I'm getting a little stressed, and I run into those people, and we start talking. They call me a pedophile.
Advice, just be careful filming other people's kids because that makes you a pedophile.
There's no law against that.
I ask you not to.
I haven't filmed any kids directly. If they're in the camera, too
Then
bad.
you're filming them directly then.
This is public.
I'm filming the kid, you know. I
Right.
wasn't filming the kids.
Exactly.
I didn't
if they just
concentrate
happen
on
to be
kids.
there,
Yeah.
you know, just like anywhere in public. Right?
Yeah. So it got to the point where they started name calling and that. And then
I mean, at that point, it's like end of discussion.
Yeah.
Once somebody starts throwing the PDF file in there, it's like,
yeah.
you know, at that point, gloves are off.
Yeah.
You know, it's you have an option whether you want to escalate it, freedom of speech, and you have that
Yep.
option, or you can just, you know, take it a different direction. That would be very difficult not to be at least very dismissive at that point and not engage, or at least maybe throw something back, not taking him seriously. But that guy, one of those guys, didn't they work for the government? One of those guys?
Well, one of them had an Orlando Fire Department shirt on.
Was that the guy who did the gesture, the
No,
sexual
no,
gesture?
that guy I never found out about
Okay.
because the police wouldn't investigate. That's the one that was grabbing his crotch in front of the
Right.
kids.
Yeah.
You saw it,
Which
right?
the cops never, we'll get to this, but they didn't do anything about that.
No.
You got arrested, but the guy who grabbed his private parts in front of kids, they didn't do anything about that.
No.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, right here's your reference.
Whoa.
No.
And then the other guy who confronted you called you a PDF file, and then he proceeded later to get out of his car at a little bit later time, and then come at you in an aggressive way.
Yeah.
Hey, can I help you?
No, I'm all right.
Why are you videotaping my stuff?
Oh, it's out in public.
My kids.
I wasn't videotaping your kids.
Videotaping my kids.
Oh, they're out in public.
But you're videotaping my kids directly.
Oh,
Now,
all
now
right.
you're gonna have a problem.
All right. Oh, getting aggressive.
I asked you.
Get away from me. 6 feet. 6 feet.
Well, then step then. I asked
Getting
you.
aggressive.
I
Finger in
asked you not
face.
to videotape my kids, and you videotape my kids twice now. All
It's
right.
gonna look good.
I will find you.
You will.
I will find you, and you will go down as a pervert. I
All
promise
right,
you.
Let's do that.
What's your name?
Don't worry about it.
What's your name?
I don't have to answer your question. What's your name?
It looks like, I mean, that's basically assault, right?
To me, it would be, but not to
I mean,
the
it's
cops.
based on how, I mean, it is based partly on feelings and stuff, or how what you feel was going to happen. I mean, from the looks of it, I would have felt threatened. The way he was like, oh, really? Like, you're going to argue with me? Seriously? You're not going to just bow and turn and walk away and do what I say?
Yeah.
He was coming right at you, right?
Yeah, at that time I was 66 years old, and I'm not going to be fighting no young lad like that, you know. He would have whooped my ass. And then where would I have been? I'd still be getting arrested by the cops. That's when the cops come up and arrested me right away.
Sergeant Reyes saw the whole thing, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he was
Oh,
there.
yeah. He was driving right towards it,
right.
you know, and he saw it. And that's when I got arrested.
So yes, you will be known. All right, just so you know, you will be known. You will be known.
Hey, he's getting aggressive with me.
I've asked you, gentlemen.
He's getting aggressive with me.
Twice now.
Go ahead and put your hands behind your back.
Twice now. I've asked
For
you
what?
not to
Go
ahead and put
videotape
your
my
What am I
kids.
under arrest for?
Twice now.
got thrown in a hoopska, $5,000 bail, no biggie. You know, I get out, and of course my wife's pissed. You know, she wants no parts of this, which is fine. You know, I can't force nothing on anybody. You know, if you want to have an open mind, have an open mind. If you want to have a closed mind, have a closed mind. That's up to you. I don't care. But I'm going to do what I think is right for my grandchildren. I don't ever want to see my grandchildren on their knees to anybody or have a boot on their head, you know?
That's why I do, you know, similar to you, we talked about this before
Yeah.
as well. I've got 2 kids of my own. I want them to grow up in a free country,
Yeah.
a truly free
Yep.
country.
Yep.
And obviously we're seeing evidence that it's not in
No.
a lot of ways, that you would think like something as innocent as simple as just walking around with a camera in the 21st century where everyone's got one on their smartphone. It's
Yeah.
a little ridiculous, don't you think?
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
a lot of it's selective because people you're filming, especially us, we're filming them for a reason. They don't like that. They don't want to be held accountable. How dare you, you know, come up and question us, you know. We decide what's going on. So I had the court case and that, you know, but in the
Now,
meantime.
this was about 4 years ago.
Yeah, 2021.
4 years ago, and that sparked somewhat of a fire, right, in the community. Yeah, I remember I watched. There were James Madison audits,
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Felix, poor dirt farmer, and a few other.
Rice Krispie,
Rice Krispie,
Geo. Yeah, there was a
Dr.
lot that
Sean Berry.
showed up. Yeah, Dr. Sean Berry.
And actually, before that happened, okay, let me back up for a second.
Yeah.
So you got arrested on a public sidewalk out in front of Lady Lake,
the
elementary
Villages
school.
Elementary School in Lady
Okay.
Lake, Florida.
And you were on a public sidewalk exercising your rights, and then that happened, which we went through. And then Dr. Sean Berry decided, you know, I'm going to go exercise my rights there and see what happens. So he went there. He gets arrested too by
Yeah.
a female officer.
How you doing? How you doing? I need you to turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Yeah. Well, what happened was I didn't know Dr. Sean Berry at the time. And he went there as a concerned citizen to file a complaint with the police, which he has a right to do per Florida state statutes. He can go give a report to anybody and they got to take care of it. So in the meantime, they left him hanging there for a while. Officer Maya, which was a short little woman that was in the video, says, "Oh, I didn't know about that. I saw the video, but now I know about the guy grabbing his crotch." Boom, she locked herself right in. The Florida state statute 39.201, you know about it, it's mandatory if you're a cop that you report it to CPS, but they never did.
And you took it all the way litigation-wise.
Yeah,
And nothing happened.
no, qualified immunity. I took it the whole way to the appeals court in Atlanta.
Talk about sovereign citizenry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, being a sovereign, we get called sovereign citizens all the time as
Yeah.
First Amendment auditors, activists, whatever you want to call us. But we just want to abide by the law. We want to operate within the confines of the law. We want everyone else to just obey the law, like
Yeah.
obeying Chapter 119 of the Florida statutes when it comes to us being able to put in a request for submit a public records request.
Yeah.
You know, and we're getting shoot online. I mean, even if they're telling us to do it in a different method, for example, they're refusing us in one of the 4 or 5 different ways you can submit it.
Yeah.
So even though they're providing another means for us to do it, it's still a refusal on one of the avenues that we can take that really is meant for our convenience, not theirs. And we're seeing that overstep, you know, more and more. And this qualified immunity is just a way to make them sovereign citizens where they are above the law.
Yeah.
They get away.
Yep.
Often, actually, most of the time, they get away with violating our constitutional rights. I mean, this is still the United States of America, right?
Yeah,
That is
we'd
still
hope so.
the supreme law of the land, and
Yeah.
yet, you know, this qualified immunity crap. You know, when they call us sovereign citizens, it's like, well, I'm not the one with qualified immunity.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Exactly.
absolutely unreal.
Yeah. Yeah, I filed against the school district and the principal on his own individual capacity. But because he told me that I could go elsewhere to do it, the judge thought, well, he told you where you can do it. You had different avenues. So, you know, I never was found guilty that it was no prost. was thrown out. They didn't prosecute.
If you don't mind me asking, how much money did you spend on all this whole ordeal, getting the litigation and possible representation and what?
Oh, easily 10 grand.
10 grand.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
And most people can't front
Yeah.
that money up for this kind of
Yeah,
stuff, which is why they typically.
I'm very fortunate. I'm not rich, but I got the money to spend to put my point out there, more or less. If I got to take him to court, sue him pro se, that's what I'm going to do. I lost the first one. I got 2 going now, so we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll have to keep everyone updated on that.
Yeah.
Now, going back to Dr. Schomberry. So after he saw what happened to you, he went out there, and which police officer was that? Female officer was the same sergeant there?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I remember that. So as soon as they see Dr. Schomberry with the camera, they just walk up and just say, "Put your hands behind your back." This was the first point of contact with Dr. Schomberry. Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest. There was no conversation, nothing.
and
I guess
the thing about that was that I think it was 6 years before that a federal judge said you can't use that statute anymore. He's up there protesting and he wants to file a complaint, which he has a right to do. So that's how he got out of it. They waited till the last minute the night before his trial before they decided not to take it to court.
Scumbags.
Yeah.
Sneaky little bastards.
Yeah. Lake County's pretty snaky.
Oh, Lake County. They're a lot like Polk County.
Yeah.
Good old boy mentality
Yeah.
over there. Yeah, my case is in Polk County. I got an appeal going on right now. So we just dropped the initial brief. So it's still kind of in the beginning stages. But,
Is that criminal or civil?
criminal.
Criminal.
Yeah, I was wrongfully convicted from a unlawful trespass and arrest.
Yeah.
So they got me on trespass. Initially was trespass after warning, then it became trespass in a conveyance or structure. During the day of trial, they changed it. During the trial, they changed the statute. I'm like, all right, thanks, guys.
How can you defend yourself then?
Yeah, I mean,
because they have to give you a right to tell you what they're charging you with, not up to the day of the court, because you got to have a right to defend yourself, discovery, everything. Boy, they threw it hard on you, brother.
Yeah. So, if I win this appeal, which highly likely I will win, my attorney and I we don't see how we can lose unless he is late in a procedural thing or something. As long as we're getting everything in on time, following the procedures and following the rules and all that fun stuff, it should be a win to get some case law in Polk County, which really needs it. They're getting away with violating people's rights all over the place. I know certain places in Lake County, I think very, very much like certain parts of Polk County, law enforcement are not wearing the body cams.
Yeah.
So there's no transparency or accountability. Is Lake County like that too?
Well, like when I got arrested, I asked the cop, I says, "You recording that?" He goes, "Yeah, everything's out in the car." And then I went to get the body cams. I said, we don't have body cams. I says, "Well, he told me you did." Well, I don't know where he got that. So I got a public records request for their procedures, and they had body cams, but they refused to give them to me.
Interesting. So what happened after Dr. Schomberry got arrested?
After he got arrested, with me or with him?
Concerning the fire that it lit, with the community, everyone going over there. Who got together and went to get all these public records requests in order and trying to hold them accountable?
I did a lot of public records requests, and then Road got all the people together to go up there to protest. And Ybor Rob was there. That's when we first met Geo. He saw it. Somebody had it live, and he come running into town right away. And,
so he's right in there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Geo.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
We went straight to the police department, and we said, "We're going up there to protest. Are you going to arrest us?" everybody's saying, because we want the case, we want the money. You know, if you're going to give away free money for arresting people, we're going to go.
That's what happened in DeLand.
Yeah.
That's this is the public service's favorite city, by the way, right, Foshin? So yeah, when somebody got arrested, or no, when they made it this unconstitutional policy where they said you can't go into their public lobby inside the police station, DeLand. It says if you go in there recording and they tell you to stop and you don't, you can be trespassed and, you know, it can lead to an arrest. And so all these people, this is the public service, myself and a bunch of other people in our community went over there and we're like, oh, are you going to arrest us? And they're just like, basically what they said to us is they're not going to enforce that policy. They're scared because they know it's just going to make somebody rich, you know?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Hey, they got to be held accountable no matter what it is. You know?
Yeah, amen to that. So what are we waiting on now? I know you got a couple of open cases, right? Is it two?
Yeah, I got two. I got the one from Sumter County. I'm waiting to hear for that. I put in my summary judgment. They put in summary judgment too, but they're still waiting to see about the qualified immunity for the cops. But the judge previously, I filed against like 12 people. So it got down to just the cops or the sheriff's deputies, and he says, yeah, he's got a good case. I'm going to let him rewrite his complaint. So I was on my third amended complaint with that. So I'm just waiting to see how that's going. It's been dead since 4/17 of this year. Nothing's been going on. But now I got one also with Lady Lake. You saw those videos, right? Did you see all the cameras, the body cams?
Yeah.
Yeah, you seen how they were, you know. As soon as I sat down to start to talk to them, they started their crap, you know, like, oh, what do you think, you know, like aggravating me, you know, escalating it right there instead of just saying.
They're trying to get you to create a disturbance.
Yeah.
Get you on something.
So I gave them one. I said, you want a disturbance? I'm your bitch, you know. So I got a little out of hand there, you know, and I have that fight and flight mentality. What do you want to do, you know? So I figured I'd stay there and tangle with him. And I asked the one cop, I says, while he was walking away, I says, did I do anything criminal? And he goes, not unless being stupid's criminal, something like that, you know. So they all walked into the bank that made the call, which the call never said that I was committing any crime, just said that I was filming inside the window. So they come hunting for me, found me, you know, we talked, and then it was a consensual conversation. Then they go into the bank, and I'm starting to walk away, and one cop comes out and goes, hey, I got good news for you, you're detained. I says, really, what for? He goes, well, they're afraid of you inside. I says, what's your reasonable articulable suspicion? Well, I can't investigate, my partner's in there investigating. So I figured I'll hang out, you know, and I keep asking, am I free to go? You know, am I being detained? Why am I being detained? I already told you. I said, I forget. I can believe that. He says, real cocky, you know. Yeah. So then guy come out of the bank. I'm on the public sidewalk the whole time. Never went in that bank. Guy comes out of the bank. He goes, sir, you are now. They told him how to say it. You know, they coached him.
Trespass.
Yeah, right. They coached him how to say it. So he comes out. He's a security manager for the bank. He goes, you are now trespassed from this building. Boom, I start walking away. They detain me again. I said, what for? He goes, well, we're investigating this trespassing that just went on. I says, I never trespassed, you know.
Let me guess, he asked you for your
Asked for my
ID.
name, yeah. I said, nope, not giving it, you know. And just they finally went and looked my name up. They knew who I was before they detained me, because one cop went and looked, and he told him, oh, he's a YouTuber. He's not doing anything wrong. But they still decided to detain me. They never filed any police report, nothing like that. They never sent anything to the state, such as why they, that's what they told me they were detaining me for, so they could send something to the state. I don't know if it was to put me on some juju list that I wasn't allowed to fly or drive the turnpike or whatever, you know. And then I pretty much left, and then I got the body cams. I said, yeah, time to throw a lawsuit their way, you know. So that's what I'm in the process now. Hey, $405.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I do? I buy a nice new printer. You know, I buy paper. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, anything you want, even before Chat GPT and all that stuff, you get whatever you want off the internet. You know, and then I joined Pacer, which helped. You know, and you learn a lot through that.
Well, it's good to see that you are taking it as far as you can go.
Yeah.
Speaking of not only the actions of exercising your rights and taking it all the way that in that regard, but also the litigation piece of it. Because not everyone, like I said earlier, not everyone can do that because they don't have the means or the resources for it. Like you do, or some others in our community do. But at the very least, as journalists, as citizen journalists, we're at the very least exposing the government.
Yeah.
I didn't coin this, but someone I know said the trade currency for the government is humiliation.
I love it.
When they're seen as illegitimate in any way, that's what gets them to. That's the only thing that gets them to do the right thing. When they get that much pressure, because the power of public opinion is very strong.
Yeah,
it's powerful.
Yeah.
And litigation is great if you have the resources to do it. And that's another way to get them in line. But if you're not exposing them, if you're not holding them accountable in any way, they're just going to keep stomping all over our rights and chilling our speech, chilling our press rights, and anything they can.
Yeah, like I said, when I was worked in that, I would work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and all I had to do was be there. There was days where I did nothing. I just sat there, got on the computer, researched all kinds of stuff. They're paying me, and it was not. I enjoyed the research of it, because the more you dig, the more you're going to find out.
Going back to what you were saying, you were watching these sorts of videos online, audits, if you will, for 15 years.
Yeah.
Do you want any shout outs to anyone you used to watch in particular quite a bit? Or any
Rogue Nation, my brother, Wrights Crispy, John Felix, Gio, of course, Dr. Sean Berry, mad love for him.
Jeff
Good
Gray.
man, Jeff Gray. There was a lot of them that are disappeared now, too. You don't hear about as much anymore. But those are the ones that have been around, like Carlos from Pinnack News and the Epic Old Guy and stuff like that. I learned from them, because you have a right to go out there and test these government workers, and they don't like it, They do not like it. How dare you question me?
And, I think a big why to that is because our culture has become so docile and apathetic to this comfort level that we have nowadays. People just don't care.
Yeah.
They're indifferent about our rights being eroded away. By the way, are you going to be having a conversation with Jeff Gray from Honor Your Oath Investigations?
I did have a conversation with him about a week ago. We talked for about 30 minutes, and I got to get back with him and see what he says,
Okay.
But my goal is, not for me, because I only got like 23 viewers. That's not important to me.
Y'all subscribe to Winston Smith. You just made the YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
Your content was going primarily to Rogue Nation. Thanks, Rogue.
And I've seen it like
for the first time.
on another one, like Carolina, Fort Worth, she put it up, and I've seen a bunch of other places too. But, like I did that school thing, and then later on, I went to another school. And I don't know if you ever saw that or not.
I think I did.
And
I've seen a good 5 or 6 of your videos prior to us speaking, and then I saw the sidewalk when that led to Dr. Sean Berry going to get arrested at the same place.
I got to put that back up to the one in Fruitland Park, where they refused a public records request. They wanted me to give my ID. I said, I'm doing a public records request. So instead of somebody coming out to take my request, they decided they're going to call Johnny Law on me, So, oh, you're trespassed and this and that, you know, and the captain of the police force came and he told me, you set foot on here, you're going to jail. And then through their body cams, he was saying, boy, I hoped he would have stepped on the property, you know. So I went and seen him a couple of days after that, and I got to lay into him pretty good at City Hall in
Right.
Fruitland Park.
Right. And going back to, I just remember what I was going to say now when I was talking about how docile and apathetic we become as a culture.
Yeah.
Well, police officers are deduced from our culture. So it's just as important to be standing outside of a bank from a public sidewalk, pointing the camera towards, you know, schools, banks, whatever, even private businesses is my point, because
Yeah.
it's really about educating not only our government, but it's really about shaping the culture
Yeah.
as well. That was the point I was
Yeah.
trying to make. This is why this is very important. People say, oh, you know, I can't stand people like, you know, Amagansett Press, for example, who goes and records out in front of restaurants, people eating, or, you know, what have you, from a public sidewalk. Because they're like, these people don't work for the government. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But at the same time, the more you educate the culture, the more you're going to see. I mean, these videos are still being put up online for thousands and thousands of people to see.
Yeah.
You know, and we're getting law enforcement candidates from the pool of what's in our culture.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a litmus test, if you will, and it's definitely it's gained a lot of awareness, especially in the last 5 years. And you've been watching this stuff for like 15 years.
Yeah.
But especially in the last 5, from what I've seen, it's really just taken off.
Yeah, it's like they're testing us, you know, like with the COVID and stuff like that. How far will people let us go? How far will people let us go? You know, and the police are trained to escalate. They're not trained to be your friend. That's their job. They pull you over for a tail light, that's their job, to escalate. Where you been? Where you coming from? Oh, I don't answer questions. Oh, now you're piquing my curiosity. What are you hiding? You know, things like that.
That's why when they read you your Miranda rights, they say you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be and will be.
Yeah.
Not or will, not
Yeah.
can or will, can and will
Yeah.
be used against you. The government is, especially now, is about self-preservation. So we have to be very, you know, careful when we're dealing with them, and we ask the questions,
Yeah.
right? Because they work for us.
Yeah.
They ought to have that mentality going into it. When they don't, and we're asking them questions, and they're trying to escalate it, trying to find ways to incriminate us, we know that there's a problem there. People say we're trying to bait these people. You can't bait a good cop.
Yeah, how can you bait somebody into doing the right thing? You know,
Right. So
that's their job.
yeah, and it's very unfortunate. I'm of the belief now. I don't really think we need state police. I definitely believe that law enforcement is a necessary function in society. So I
Yes.
believe in
Yes.
the sheriff's office, because they're by design supposed to uphold the Constitution and
Yeah.
protect our rights.
Yeah.
We don't see that, especially, you know, with these state corporate worshipers who basically are just, again, about protecting themselves at all costs.
Yeah.
And they're taught in training, and I've heard this from previous law enforcement, they're taught, you know, basically just get home at the end of the day. You know?
Yeah.
Officer safety.
Everybody's your enemy. You
Right.
know?
Exactly. Everyone's your enemy. Just get home safely.
Yeah.
Officer safety. Who gives a shit about citizen safety? Right?
Yeah, and you see so many. You would think with so many videos out there that they would learn. You know,
Right.
Even the National Police Union, you know, for their own benefit for their officers. Granted, we all want them to go home. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but have a talk with them. Say, hey, the people you work for don't care about you. You know, the people like the town, they don't care. You're just a cop.
Right.
They give you a badge and gun. You know, you go out there, city's not going to get sued. You're going to get sued, you know. But a lot of these people, too, this has brought me out. I hope I'm not going off track here. But a lot of people that work for the government don't realize that they're working under color of law. Like at Lady Lake, one of the ladies who worked in the police department in the records division flatly refused to take my public records request by writing it down. She's acting under color of law, you know. Is that a 1983 case or what? Could it be? You know?
It's a misdemeanor crime for them to refuse that.
Yep. To flatly refuse it, but they're not going to be held accountable. I just went not too long ago to Lady Lake, and I was going to do a citizen's arrest. I've never done one. I says, I want Officer Maya here. They said, well, she's not available. I says, well, get one of the sergeants here. So who did they send? I left because he never showed up, but they were sending the sergeant that was with the other sergeant that arrested Dr. Sean Berry at the school without asking questions. So my goal, I'm going to get that Maya. You know, that's her job. Her job was to help protect those kids, and she didn't. She was just worried about getting a feather in her cap for trespassing somebody, you know. Just my opinion. But
I really hope that this results in holding her accountable.
Yeah.
At the very least, the world needs to see, you know, people like this who violate the law, violate our rights. You know, because the violation of just one of our rights, your rights, is a violation of mine and everyone else that's watching.
Lady Lake in the Village is corrupt. You know, I just went there to do had a federal court order for preservation of evidence and no spoliation. Town manager refused to take it. He said, nope, I'm not taking it. I said, okay. So I had to file an emergency motion with the court. Nothing come out of it because I just went pro se instead of acting like an attorney. I wanted to see what was going to happen. Let me do this emergency motion. I didn't throw any case law in or anything because you learn from what those judges tell you. That's the learning right there, you know, because they're the ones who are going to make the decisions. But the cops, they don't care. They're not going to pay. It's not going to come out of their pockets because not enough people are pushing to take their pensions away. What you can do, Florida statute says that, you know, they can be protected and their bills or their legal bills paid for by the municipality, town, city, whatever. But if they blatantly break the law, the town's not obligated to pay for them. You know what I mean? I forget the Florida state statute, but you know it just
let us know in the comments.
Yeah, you know it's you know yourself when you're out there, you're on an island by yourself because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what crazy cop's going to do what.
Yeah.
You know,
there's a part of me that really enjoys and sees the value of doing collaborations with other folks like yourself, you know, that go out and do the same thing. You know, I've done quite a few with This Is a Public Service and the J-Town Press, Rogue Nation, John Felix, and some other, you know, well-known names in the community. And I love it. I really enjoy it. It's a great time. It makes it less intimidating for me personally. And I'm sure, you know, for everyone in that sense. But at the same time, like, I do see the value of going by myself because have you heard of these this charge now they try to throw at us, conspiracy? There's like certain conspiracy charges. I know in Washington they have something. Washington State, a conspiracy charge. I think in Florida they have something similar. It may not be called that, but essentially, you know, if you got more than one person doing the same thing, they can try to, you know, they always try to throw obstruction or some other bogus catch-all charge, you know, against us, like resisting without violence is another common one. So now if you do multiple auditors going in and auditing a single place or government person or whatever, they can try to make it about harassment or about conspiracy. I'm not very well versed in conspiracy. I just know that's something that I've seen that they tried to charge people like you and me going out and doing like these collaborative audits.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that.
So my point, you know, is, you know, going out by yourself, as long as you have a good idea of what you're doing, you kind of eliminate or at least minimize that.
Yeah, like Jeff Gray.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So shout out to Jeff Gray, by the way. He's one of the goats. My personal favorite, by the way. I like Long Island Audit.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started. I watched his video by accident, and then it changed the algorithm. You know, once you watch somebody's YouTube video, you start getting all their stuff.
Yeah.
So I was watching him exclusively for a good 3 weeks until I decided I'm going to go out and start doing it myself. I want to see what it's like over here in Florida. And I thought because it's a red state, it's probably not so bad. You know, I'm revealing my political leaning. So I didn't think it was that bad, you know. And it turns out, you know, it's bad. Florida's a police state.
Oh yeah,
it's got that good old boy mentality we mentioned already.
Yeah.
You got Ron DeSantis, who I voted for once, maybe twice, you know, as governor here in the state of Florida, and he's turned out to be not. He has a disdain, evidently, towards what we do. That's why he. That's why he put the Halo law in effect. And then I heard about other things he's been doing in Florida for quite some time with the illegal traffic stops and things. So he's not necessarily a constitutional governor. And
I don't believe so. I regret voting for him. I would have not voted for anybody, but you know, he was. He talks a good game.
Not to get political, but you know, I've learned a lot since I started doing this activism. I went into it a little naive, thinking, you know, that it's not going to be so bad because of the political leaning in Florida.
Yeah.
Turns out it really doesn't matter.
No.
Whether it's a blue state, red state, doesn't matter. What matters is, you know, all the stuff we've been talking about. You just got to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And so where you have lack of accountability, lack of transparency, America's Sheriff Grady Judd, not a constitutional sheriff.
No.
I used to love that guy. Especially when he used to talk about the Second Amendment. I loved how he put it beautifully. You know, he was like, hey, you do this in the state of Florida and you get shot. he's like, we'll back it, you know, or whatever, however he said it. But when it comes to the First Amendment, he's arrested someone not too long ago for recording, you know, watching the police with his.
That's crazy.
By recording with his phone. So, and not to mention he violates people's Sixth Amendment right all the time in these press conferences.
Yeah.
Doesn't give him a fair jury and judge and jury, you know.
Yeah, you know, like the cell phones that created all this, a lot of this, you know, because look back at what's his name in L.A., Rodney King. You know, and it makes you think, maybe there's just a couple bad cops, you know. And then what really got me started was I started watching YouTube videos, and I saw 8 cops standing there with a guy that was just standing there handcuffed. And another cop come around the car and punched him in the face while he was handcuffed. And I'm thinking, whoa, this ain't right. You know, I had to look and see what country it come from, you know. But
sometimes
it's scary.
Indistinguishable. Sometimes you see things, you're like, what? That was the United States?
Yeah.
I thought this was in
scary.
You know, some communist socialist country.
Yeah.
Scary, man. This should terrify you. Terrifies me. Some of the things
Yeah.
going on, like what happened with Lane Myers, what's been going on with Craig Hendry and others. You know, it's just it's crazy what they can throw at you and put you through. Being put through the justice system is the punishment.
Yeah.
A lot of people call it the injustice system, but you know.
Yeah, I ain't afraid of getting arrested anymore. My wife might get pissed, but I don't care. What are they going to do to a 70-year-old man, you know? three hots in a cot, you know? Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, they're going to kick us out in about 4 or 5 minutes. So any last thoughts that you want to share?
No, I'm just grateful to everybody in the community, all the First Amendment auditors and everything. You brought my eyes open, and you're going to open a lot more eyes. So just keep on keeping on, guys. That's all we can do, because it's only us.
That's right. And I appreciate your hard work and dedication on all this. I look forward to seeing more from your channel. This is Winston Smith, and that is the actual name of your YouTube channel as well, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be sure to have a link to your page in the description of this video. So y'all go subscribe to Winston.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man.